Alright, Purdy friends, welcome back to another Bronies UK video. It's me, Sam, your co-host of the channel. So, just to be aware, this will contain some spoilers for the first of the specials for G5, Make Your Mark. Literally just watched it, so before I have to zip off to work, I'm just going to do this quick review. So, I actually want to start with some negatives and then go into some positives, okay? So I'm just going to be completely honest when it comes to some negatives here. I really wasn't too keen on the new animation style, what they're using. It just did not seem as freshly done or as well cut and polished as the film. Now, in many ways, I don't understand why that is, because ultimately surely Netflix have the money to use better animation. The the animation in some places just came across as almost very robotic. Um, some of the face animations just did not look very neat. They look robotic, as I say. They just didn't look particularly great. Yes, the animation just put me off quite a bit. It just wasn't as fresh as it looked in the film. I know that they are using a different animation style in this special, so that I suppose explains why. But it's really more of a nitpick for me. I'm not a fan of animation when it just doesn't look right. I mean, the animation in this really looked a little bit unfinished. It might just be the way I'm looking at it, but I've watched a G5 film quite a few times, and as a result, that animation I'm used to. So again, it's just more of a nitpick that the animation style is just different from what I'm used to within the G5 film. So that's really a nitpick. Um, I'll also admit it's hard to get used to, obviously, the different voice actors, because it's not the same voice actors doing the voices for the main five in this special. It's obviously different from the voice actors in the film. Um, Whereas they did do a good job. They definitely captured the essence of the characters' voices. You could tell to an extent that it wasn't quite obviously the same voice actors. You could tell there was a bit of difference in the voices. Obviously, every voice actor's different, so again, it's more of a nitpick. I'm not having to go at the voice actors for not, for being the same as the previous voice actors, because ultimately, that's just difficult. You can't do that. But yeah, again, it's just another nitpick. Again, it was just a bit difficult to try and adapt to a slightly different tone of voice for the characters when, again, I'm used to the G5 voice cast. So again, really just another nitpick. Now, the plot of this special. Now, we're going to get into spoiler territory here. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch any further. Come back after you've watched it. So, let's just discuss the plot, really. There is an element I want to discuss in as much detail as I can. So, overall, the plot, it was a bit slow. Again, I'm nitpicking again, but, it just was a bit slow. Um, I just felt really I was sort of expecting something a bit more fleshed out. It was really sort of the last maybe like 10-15 minutes of this special that really I enjoyed the most. But the first half of it was a little bit sort of slow. Um, it sort of felt like you were very much wrapping around two plots into one. Obviously, magic sort of fading and then other stuff going on as well. But as much as it was a bit of a slow burn, I can't deny that it did raise a lot of interesting questions. And I really want to talk about these questions. So, again, spoilers if you haven't watched it yet. So, here we go. Um, Here's what's really interesting me. So, we know now that obviously the three crystals are effectively powering magic. Okay, so it's pretty much confirmed these crystals that are now in Sunny's lighthouse are basically creating the the I don't know what we could call it, the magic of friendship if you want. They're creating magic itself. They're actually sort of pushing out magic. And we know now that it's very much almost like a yin yang kind of situation. We know that every time ponies get on, every time they're happy and they're friends and the magic's all going fine, that magic effectively feeds into the crystal and keeps it healthy. So in a lot of ways, the ponies' magic and through that friendship is powering the crystal. In a sense, the ponies themselves are needed to maintain harmony to keep the magic alive. That's something that is basically confirmed in this special, that Equestria has to stay in harmony for the magic to exist. Now, what is really interesting is that it's implied that the reason the crystals separated in the first place was because there was a split within Equestria, and that caused the magic to fade and the crystals to split. So, again, that's implied in the episode, but isn't confirmed. Again, I am really beginning to wonder if these crystals are just the elements of harmony in a different form. Now, what got kind of interesting is when disharmony is starting to spread, loads of weird stuff starts happening. Obviously, magic starts to fade, unicorns lose the magic, Pegasi can't fly. Earth ponies, interestingly, start getting stuck. They can't move. The hooves just get stuck. It's really interesting. Which, in a sense, didn't surprise me because, obviously, at the end of G5, there's that massive hint as to Earth ponies having some kind of magic, which we will discuss momentarily. And then the weather starts getting all weird, like big storms start happening. Now, for quite a while, I was generally thinking to myself, right, fingers crossed that one or two things are going to happen. Either Discord's going to suddenly appear, and he's just going to appear and it'll be like Chaos is back, or Wendigos are going to show up. Sadly, none of that happened. But what did happen was, at the height of it, when sort of magic's going haywire and everything's going out of sync, effectively lightning hits the ground and opens up what appears to be a giant sinkhole. Now, here's what's interesting. If we go back to the Equestria Girls films, I believe it's the Friendship Games, where when you have the magic leaking out and it basically blows holes into Equestria, effectively it breaks the dimensional barrier, and you have the Equestria Girls universe and the MLP universe sort of opening up and almost crashing into each other effectively. I actually think what this giant sinkhole that opens up in Mertan Bay is that it's potentially an entrance into another dimension, possibly. So there might be another dimension coming into G5 that is somehow similar to G4's Equestria Girls. Again, it's a theory. But yeah, it results in Sunny having to go into this sinkhole void to save some ponies. She uses the Alicorn magic to save them. That's sort of, then after that, everybody sort of realises, we have to work together, and that brings back balance and harmony effectively. Now, upon the return of magic, two really interesting things happen, and I'll do a proper review of this later. This is just really my thoughts and a bit of a review. I think the best thing to do is me and my good friend John. We need to do a proper review together at some point. We need to talk about some stuff with this special. But anyway, put it aside. So, two really interesting things that I want to quickly talk about. Once magic is sort of reharmonized, the Earth ponies develop magic. Now, obviously, we all knew that Hitch would basically be able to understand animals because that was hinted at in the film and hinted at in the teaser for the special. And I think it's safe to say Hitch is 100% a descendant of Fluttershy. Definitely, he's got Fluttershy in him. He's somehow a descendant of hers because he can understand and speak to animals now. That's sort of his gift, magical gift. Now, what's interesting, Earth ponies now have their own magic, which interestingly is connected via their hooves, and they appear to be able to influence nature. They effectively can cause plants to grow. So that is quite interesting because obviously in G4, Earth ponies were, a lot of them were like, farmers and things. Like Applejack's family. So it's interesting that in this new generation, Earth ponies have magic now, and they can influence nature. It's quite interesting. So I think we'll definitely dive into that a lot more as the series season one, which I believe is out September. I think when that as that goes along, we'll see a lot more. Now, this is something I really want to talk about. Because it really surprised me, and not to mention, really has got me excited for the upcoming G5 seasons. The big bad has been revealed. There is going to be a villain, and we do see her. Um, Basically, it appears that the villain is an alicorn, a purple alicorn. Whether or not this is some descendant of Twilight or Twilight corrupted, who knows? But there's a short scene near the end of the special where you don't see her at first. There's like a magical bubble, and someone's watching through it and watching the events in Mertan Bay, and then they just state, at last they've learned how to harmonise magic, and I'm basically going to take it back for myself and all that. And you flip it, it sort of does a 360, and it shows a purple alicorn sat on a throne with a couple of sort of pony minions around her. And she's got an interesting design. She's largely like a dark purple with a different horn. Rather than being your sort of straight spiral style horn, it's like a curved horn, and she's got almost like silvery wings. So yeah, she's definitely going to be the big bad of G5, at least the first season. I want to know everything about her. I want to know who she is, where she fits into it. I want to know. So yeah, that is definitely for me quite surprised me that it introduces a villain. Whoever she is, we don't know, but it's interesting that she's an alicorn. So she's an alicorn, and I'm assuming up until this point maybe she had no magic, but now that magic's come back into the world, she does. Now, I've got a few theories. Okay, so theory one, she's imprisoned somewhere, and maybe she was imprisoned by the main six. Maybe she was imprisoned by Celestia and Luna. Who knows? But I think she's imprisoned somewhere. Two, what if she turns out to be somehow a banished alicorn that was banished many moons ago back in G5 that nobody knows about apart from Celestia and Luna? Again, same theory of being banished, but it's a theory. Or three, what if she is a descendant of one of the alicorns? It being Twilight, Luna, Celestia, Cadence, or Flurryheart. She could be a direct descendant of them. But either way, I think things are going to get really interesting in the coming months for G5. I am looking forward to learning more about this villain. So yeah, ultimately, just to wrap this quick review up, I enjoyed it. Like I said, looking forward to knowing more about this villain. Looking forward to knowing more about the magic in general of this new world. Only nitpicks are animation, bit ropey. Took me a while to get used to the new sort of voice cast. But yeah, ultimately, I did enjoy it largely for its expansion of the story and the expansion of the lore in the world. So yeah, I'll look forward to it. And look for a bit more of an in-depth review coming soon with myself, and my good friend John. We'll do a more in-depth review of this special within the next few days, hopefully. So thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Sam of Ponies UK. Have a great day. Peace out.